Oh, come on. What's up, YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. I've just got a new soldering iron, because the one that came in the kit is utter junk, utter rubbish. Just wasn't getting hot enough. And this bugger, he does not want a tin. Quite happily melts the solder, but he don't want a tin. I can't, he stole it, stick to the end of it. Anyway, so yeah, welcome back to the channel. This is the weekly update as to how we're doing with ASBO. We have had a couple of extra people jump in as well, so there are going to be a couple of names on the end of this lot that's popping up here at the minute. But these are obviously all the people that have been chipping in to support the build. And one of them is going to win it, as you know, which is all good. Come on, just stick. You're not going to stick, are you? Right, I'm just going to let it cook its conkers off whilst we have a yap, and then I'm going to give it a go and see what's what. Basically, I'm just trying to make up my earth lead for the CDI. I need to stick one of these little tiny resistors onto something like that and ground it out to the frame, basically. This, I had a hell of a trouble getting crimp connectors to go into those plugs. They've got like a little lock-in tab on them. Mortex connectors they're called, or Mortex crimps, although that could be the brand name. I've got some coming, they're not here yet, so for now we're just going with a normal spade connector who's going to be shoved in the socket. It'll do fine, and then when they come I'll just have him off and we'll redo it and it's all good. So anyway, right, updates, let me show you. Right, looks a bit simpler, doesn't it? Looks a lot simpler. I'm just going around labelling everything at the minute just so I know what's what. So this week I've been shoving in extra earthing points and trying to get rid of that massive bundle of wiring and everything else. I've only got a few things left to sort out. Today is Thursday and we're on a deadline because we're booked in for Dyno next Tuesday. So this needs to be wired and running, and I need to balance the carb stuff over the weekend. Last little fettle on Monday maybe. But then Tuesday I've got the day off and we're going into Dyno. So I haven't actually got that much left to do. I've got to do the earth for the CDI. It goes into this plug and I'll put in an earthing point here, so it's a really short run. All the earthing is coming out really, really good actually, really good. A couple of P-clips just to keep stuff out the way. This is only a temporary loom, but I just want to rationalise it all down and get it sort of all nice and safe and whatnot. I've got some more cable coming. Stupidly, I ordered 16mm square battery cable. I thought, yeah, that'll do. That's massive. So I've got some thinner stuff coming. Should be here later on today, so I can take care of this sort of stuff and get me lead remade for the feed for the M unit. He needs to go on there. He needs to go on there. You get the gist. And then round here, literally, I've got a neutral switch, 2 leads for the pulse generator, which obviously go into the CDI. I've got an oil pressure light, and that really is it for down here, or apart from the alternator. So obviously he needs to be lengthened up and sort of, you know, down to the side of the starter solenoid. So I really haven't got that many wires left to connect. If I get all that lot going, it should turn over, it should run, we should be able to fire it up, blah, 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 blah. But I also want to get some of this lot hooked up for the dash. It would be good to have a tacho running, which is basically one of these needs to go to the primaries on the coil. We'll need obviously a ground, which is easy, I've got one right there, and a live feed, which again is fine. And then the neutral switch and the oil pressure light is going to hook up there just so we've got those warning lights basically on the dash. If we end up running it without a tacho, I don't really mind. He can hook the dyno up, you know, to one of the pulsar calls and start to the HT calls up here anyway. So on screen he'll have a tacho, but it would be nice to see it all going. So that's it really, and then the wiring is all done. What I am going to be doing, I'm halfway through filming it at the minute, but once it's all together and once it's all paired and I can hit the button and it all turns over, then the wiring you see here is going to be drawn out on a diagram so you can see how it's all connected and what goes where and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and I can start putting together the wiring diagram. But it would be good to show folks how everything sits, just because, you know, quite a few people are interested in doing this. And I can't find anything online specifically for a Bandit, so, you know, it makes sense to do it, basically, so that's what I'm doing. You can stay up there out of the way because you're currently connected. Right, I've also been having a few other ideas. Right, the other ideas involve this, the ship blaster. It is going to be getting turned into a vapour blasting cabinet. I've got the stuff up there to do it, bar a couple of bits which I need to get sorted out at some point. Just haven't had a chance to even look at it. I need a connector, a reducer, and a couple of fittings, that's it basically. But anyway, I was thinking about, because I'm trying to plan sort of like a month in advance and all that sort of stuff. And as far as the bike goes, once we get the dyno run done and we know, you know, okay, assuming everything is fine and nothing needs to be tweaked or blah-de-blah-de-blah, then that is the shape it's going to take and that's how it's going to be. So as far as main fabrication goes, I've just got the seat hump, the seat, and like all the locking mechanism and all that sort of stuff, and the number plate board basically, and you know, the indicators and that. That really is it as far as fabrication goes. The tank ain't going to take too long to do at all because it's just a case of cutting a hole in a round bit of something, welding it in and plating it over. So if I can get that done before dyno, I will do. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to though. So then we're down to things like everything is going to go on the bike. So all the indicators and, you know, literally everything. So I know that everything has got a bracket or the cable is going to be routed nicely, or, you know, literally everything is going on the bike. The side stand, the switch for that, yada, yada, yada. And then once we get to that point, it's all coming apart. So things like the frame and all that kind of stuff can get powder coated whilst I'm doing the engine rebuild. So engine rebuild really isn't that far away, and that's where this comes in. So I wanted to convert this into a vapour blaster purely for cleaning stuff up. It doesn't take material off, it just cleans the shiznick out of stuff. Carbs will come up looking like new. So things like, you know, the swing arm and the carbs and various other little bits and doodads and brackets I've made and all that sort of stuff, they're all going to go through a vapour blaster just to make them look absolutely the best that they can do. But then I was thinking about this and I was looking online as well, because I've got an oven who sits over underneath the fabrication table. At the minute I'm just using it for, you know, dropping bearings out, or, you know, I could use it for calipers and, you know, all that sort of stuff basically, you know, just curing paint and whatnot. But I'm seriously thinking about having a crack at doing some Cerakoting. Everything was just going to be powder coated, but the more I look into Cerakote, the more I want to try and use it on something. Powder coat is quite thick. You know, it all sort of flows out and everything else, but when you get to the edges, you definitely see like a little bit of a rise to it, depending on how it's done. Whereas Cerakote is a really thin film ceramic coating. It is a lot harder wearing, you know, as far as corrosion and abrasion and all that sort of stuff. It's chemically resistant to stuff as well. Takes stupid amounts of heat, and we can get it in the UK. However, for that, you need to have a shop blaster, because the way that you apply Cerakote is very, very, very specific. So you clean the shiznick out of the bit that you're doing, then you leave it just soaking in acetone for like half an hour, take it out and let it dry. Then you have to shop blast it with dry media like aluminium oxide, and then you shove it in an oven and cook it. And when it comes out, after however long it is, you're looking for any oils to have come to the surface. And if there are, then you have to repeat the cleaning process and keep going until there isn't anything leaching out of the metal. Then you can spray your Cerakote on it, chuck it in an oven. I think they do an air cure one, which is more expensive than an oven cure one. But I've got an oven, so I don't really care. And you come out with these lovely looking bits. They do it in different colours and whatnot, although the colour choice is limited. But I've already got everything that I need, apart from a high volume, low pressure spray gun, to be able to do Cerakote in here. So turning this into a vapour blaster, but I need a vapour blaster to clean the Siznik out of stuff. So what I'm thinking of doing is making this a dual purpose thing. I might be loose. See, I was tempted just to get another one and stick it next to it. The only trouble is that the door's open on the side. So how would I get to that one? Do you know what I mean? So I'm currently coming up with a way of making this dual purpose. So I can use it as a shot blasting cabinet, but if I want to use it as a vapour blasting cabinet, I can just change stuff over and it'll all work, and we should be fine. I could probably do it in a weekend, like a couple of days, just because there is quite a lot to do. But I don't know, I'm toying with the idea. I really, really am. What we might do is have a go at Cerakoting some stuff initially, just because it's already set up as a shot blaster. And if the Cerakote works okay, then I can leave all the carb cleaning and all that kind of stuff until way later on anyway. So I won't need the vapour blaster straight away. Whereas, if I get this done, then maybe we end up having a few Cerakoted bits on the bike, which could be quite cool. So things like the calipers, there's a couple of covers and stuff on there, the bottoms of the fork legs, because they're directly in, that's the first thing going through the air when you're riding it. Just stuff like that, basically. I don't know, it's an idea. If anybody has used Cerakote, or has done it themselves, and they've got a good little setup of how to do it, or things to look out for, things to watch out for, all that sort of stuff. I've been going through looking at various YouTube channels that have been going into this, and they're all sort of saying the same thing. So I think I've got a reasonably good idea. But if anyone's actually had a go and done it, give us a shout, because I'd love to pick your brains. What's that? It'd be quite good as well. I mean, I could just pay Jack to powder coat everything. And he does have shot blasting gear down there, but the thing is, I can't guarantee when he's going to be around. So for doing small parts, it's going to be worth me keeping a shot blast cabinet. I was trying to think of where I could shove a smaller cabinet just for doing the vapour blasting, because it's only going to be things like, I could Cerakote the entire engine. I could, instead of painting it. This one has been painted, it's 97, it's been repainted since it was new, but it's chipped and all sorts, whereas Cerakote would withstand that an awful lot better. And I'm pretty bloody sure that any of that stuff will go in my oven. I'm sure it would. When I pull it all apart, I might be just like test fitting stuff in the oven just to see if it will fit, and if it will fit, then, and I am going to do the Cerakoting, then I may well be Cerakoting everything on there, apart from some of the covers. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But, there's loads of little bits and pieces that I could do. It's not the cheapest. It's not. You get like a little bottle of stuff like this. I know it goes on dead thin, but a little bottle like that is, with the VAT, is like the best part of like 100 quid. It's not cheap. I think it's about 90 quid. And like I say, the colour choice is limited. Luckily, they do all the colours that I would want to be using. I wouldn't do stuff like the frame. That I am going to get powder coated. But the engine and all that sort of stuff, well, it's you. Alright, all I want to do is tin the end of it. That is it. That's all I want to do. Because then I can get on and do my stuff. And it's melting the solder, but it's not sticking to the soldering iron. I hate new soldering irons. With a passion. Right. We're going to struggle with the crappy one. And I'll do him later. Where is it? Here we go. So, yeah. I've been working it through. I do think... See, I really do want to use Cerakote. The more I read about it, the better it just seems to me. It does mean it would be me doing it, not paying Jack to do it. He's got a big oven, he can do loads of stuff all at the same time and just get it cooking and, you know, away you go sort of stuff. Whereas I've only got a little oven, it would take me longer. But, you know, even though the product itself is more expensive, ultimately it would be cheaper. It would just take me longer to do than it would him. But the bike at the end of the day would have better coatings on it. It was always like a national joke, almost. You know, Suzuki's, the coatings last until the day after warranty, then they all fall on the floor. So, you know, and I do want the bike to be absolutely the best it can be. And I think Cerakote's just the way to go. I don't know, it's worth doing. I'll do, you know, quite a lot on it, really. Quite a lot, I reckon. So anyway, would love to hear your thoughts. Cerakote, yes or no? I think I've made my mind up, but I would be very interested to see what you say. If anyone's got experience of using Cerakote, you've had some, you know, not necessarily you've done it yourself, but if you've had stuff Cerakoted, I would love to know what your thoughts as well. I think it'd be a, you know, just a sensible thing to do to the bike, basically. But anyway, so there you go, that's the update. A few little bits and pieces, like cables and all that sort of stuff turning up, but it's just, everything I'm doing at the minute is aimed at the Tuesday for Dyno Day. There is a lot going on. I've got stuff everywhere. I should have tidied up about 3 days ago, but I haven't had a chance because I've been busy. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it for this one. Thank you ever so much for watching. I do hope you're well and staying safe, and we will see you on the next one. Laters! Right, are you going to do it?